All right, 7:30. So this is the Budget Committee's public hearing. I'll go ahead and call the public hearing to order. I don't know if we're supposed to take attendance, but I will. Brian,
Here.
John,
Here.
I'm here. Tom is out. Sal,
Here.
Mike, Reese, Mike Sampson,
Here.
and Sadie and Karen are both out. So, guess what we do here is, we have a quorum. That's good. So we can proceed. I think maybe what we'll do is we'll go through our budget and we're just gonna go through, and each of the budget committee members is gonna read out the bottom line, the budget committee's number on the budget. And then I think we'll just go through and do the bottom line on the revenues. And then at that point, I think the public has any questions, we'll let them ask. Does that sound good to everybody?
Did you want to do both Sadie and Karen, or do you want me to do one?
John's gonna do
Okay.
Sadie and I'll do Karen.
Good.
Yep.
Did you like to do Sadie? No, I'm fine.
Yes, Mike.
I'm gonna do mine, I'm gonna tie it to the warrant articles.
Okay,
Capital outlay.
okay.
It's not maybe 5 minutes long.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, well, it's not really, do we approve minutes at this meeting? Yeah, all right, so before we get into it, we had a meeting last night, and Mike, did you send those out? You said Mike sent out the meetings. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the meetings as, or the minutes as written.
Oh,
All right, do I have a second? All right, any changes or comments?
There was one, I forget, I don't have a copy of it, but I was reading, in the front section, we talked about, proceeds from the sale of property. And I think it stated that we would be using it to offset taxes. I think that that's not totally accurate, that we're going to use some of it to offset taxes and some of it.
It was supposed to be some to offset taxes, and then the balance was to be split between the undesignated fund balance and the community center.
Probably meant that.
Amend the minutes to say that, can you do that, Roger?
Yeah, I can figure that one out.
All right,
It's Article 29. Thank you.
all right, so, so all those in favor of accepting the minutes as amended, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. All right, let's get right into it. So John, would you like to start us off?
Okay.
Please.
4130 is the executive total, and that's 243, 079.98. And the TC tax collector is 196, 310 and 50 cents. Financial administration total is 203,955.72 cents. The session total is 146,439.26 cents. Legal total is 131,800. Personal administration is 1,400. It's on to Karen.
All right. So 4191 planning and zoning, the total is 27,376.83 cents. General government buildings. It was 4194 is $180,277.47. Cemeteries, 4195 is $69,509.62. 4196 insurance not otherwise allocated in other departments is $35,073.13. 4198, our contingency fund is 50,000. And other general government at 4199 is 47,228.80 cents. Brian?
Okay, on page 10, 4210, public safety police is $1,254,048.40. Page 10 also 4215, ambulance is 100,000. Over to page 12. Fire. 4220 is 400,551.79. Also on page 12, building inspection.
Oh, Brian, I think that was 406,000.
406,551.79. Sorry if I misread.
No, that's all right.
Building inspection 4240 is $24,045.20. 4290 on page 13. $112,208.44. And on page 14. 4299. Wait for it. Old members. $300,565.01.
All right, thank you.
Then we go on to highway administration. And that's zero this year because it's been moved to other accounts. Highway total, highway and streets, that's $1,902,854.50. Bridge, $120,000. Street lighting is $20,000. Solid waste collection, $171,058.48. Solid waste disposal, $278,490.00. Health administration total, $12,968. And veterinary or pest control is $2,000.
All right, thank you.
Health agencies and hospitals, $45,15,100. Welfare administration, $44,41, $39,556.77. Vendor payments, $4,445, $43,151. Parks. Correct. 4520, $21,695.60. Other cultural recreation, account 4581, $2,000. Patriotic purposes, account 4583, $500. Conservation administration, account 4611, $1. Debt service principal, long-term bonds and notes, account 4711, $0. Interest, long-term bonds and notes, account 4721, $5,000. Interest on tax and revenue account 4723, $10,000.
Thank you. Mike?
And the summary, if you're working out with the summary, the line I'm talking about is warrant articles, which is 4,900, and specifically, I'll go through the line articles and what they are. 2,700,000 for road reconstruction. $10,000 for capital reserve fund. For a highway road construction capital reserve fund. 267,000, that one, by the way, the 10,000 one is Article 14. The next one is 267,900, which is Articles 30 and 31. And that's for purchase of equipment. And that's highway equipment. There's two pieces, a loader and a truck. The next one is 53,000, it's article number 23, and it's for a police cruiser. The next one is to purchase a fire truck, that's article 9. No, yeah. So, article 9, which is 169,940. The next one is 85,000, and that's to put into the capital reserve for, emergency medical services with fire squad or ambulance. The next one is 7,500 for the transfer station. That's Article 17, the fire squad was 20. And Article 17 is the transfer station. The next one is for, police equipment. And it goes into the police general revolving capital reserve account, and that's 20, Article 22, and it's 60,583. The next one is, bridges. And bridges is, 53,500 in Article 28. The next one is, buildings. And it's Article 19 is 73,000. And revaluation is Article 24. And it's 27,500. Last two, under, Article 16. Is to go to the capital reserve for the fire department, $160,000. And Article 13 to go to the highway capital reserve, 63,800. And again, the total on all those is 3,731,783. And when you get to the revenue, it's going to show you that you've got 2,000,007 against it. So it's less than a million, which is actually less than it was last year. Ooh.
Want to do the general fund bottom line for us?
Oh.
It's right there, down at the bottom.
You?
You.
$10.35. No.
Yeah.
Oh, $10,110,982.46. We are.
I thought it was 9,891,000.
That's what I have. Yeah.
Well, mine says. 10,110,000. And this summary sheet here. Yeah,
The one including all the warrant articles,
Okay,
the general fund totals, the 6,379,199.46.
yeah, all right.
That's what goes into the general fund, sorry.
All right, Mike,
Okay.
you're in the library.
Sure. On page 22, the account number 4551 for the library. The total number is $219,953.95. And then on page 23, account number is 4326 sewage collection and disposal. That's $123,897.11. And then on page 24, this account number 4327 sewage collection and disposal. The number is $28,275.38, and total sewer fund then would be $152,172.49.
Thank you. Water department, account 4331, water distribution and treatment. The total is $120,887.41. Account 4332 for water services. Total is 2,000. Account 4335, water treatment. Total is $76,901.38. And the total for the water department then is $199,788.79. And then emergency service, CEMS, what does that stand for?
It's EMS, it's.
EMS, yes, the C. Canaan EMS, all right. That's on page 25 over to page 27. The total amount for Canaan EMS is $722,307.80. So that's the budget. As far as the revenue, the total amount that we have is correct me if I'm wrong, $6,254,993.14. So there you have it. There's the estimated revenue and our budget. So I guess does the public have any questions? See if we can answer them. Any members have any questions or further comments? Come on, Mike. Hey, you know you got a comment.
Okay, just to point out that the revenue and expense is high because of the article, it's a $2.7 million bond vote. And that sounds good, and I made the comment that it's $1 million. It's a lot less this year, it was last year. Problem with that is, it's still money that's gonna have to be paid for over time. So it's more money that has to be absorbed. And I didn't say what the roads, so there's 3 roads on that one. River Road, Switch Road, and Upper Goose Pond.
Do we have any other business to come before the public hearing? Yep.
Just on the water and sewer, just want to point out that the rates are still going to go up significantly. Water rate's going to go up 70%, that's projected. And the sewer rate's going to go up 50%, and that's obviously relevant. The only thing other that I would comment on the revenue side is if you look at the total appropriation for CEMS and the revenue side, the total appropriation is a lot higher. It's a couple $100,000 higher. However, they put the new program in for interfacility transport, which is working very well, and Bill Bain has told me it's gonna hit all the projections in terms of making a lot more money to cut over to pay all the costs of expansion, plus give them more operating capital, so it's good news. That's the only other significant issue.
And that's the service that the ambulance provides, that it's not emergencies, but people who have special needs, whether they're hooked up to something or whatever, need to transport from one facility to another, and then they hire us to do that. Is that right?
Yes, and we're already doing it.
Yeah.
In Dartmouth, and actually, because of the increase, we did hire an additional EMT, he's actually a paramedic. And because of his qualifications, when we put those people in transport, we will actually go from like $1,000 of transport for certain ones up to 5,000 for the same transport. Because we can take a more difficult case. So our certifications have moved up quite a bit, so we're seeing a big benefit on that side.
One last comment, and that is, overall, the budget shows a significant increase in capital assets and funding, future funding for capital assets. And I was thinking about it this afternoon. In 2010, the total funding that went into future funding of capital assets was less than $100,000. It's grown a little bit.
All right, well, last year we continued the public hearing because I think there was something we had to do at the deliberative session. I don't know if that's common practice or.
It is this way, so if we're done with the hearing process tonight, if as a result of the hearing, people came in and wanted to kill us unless we did something, we agreed that we didn't want to get killed, then we would amend it tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the 2 folks who kill us. So if that's not the case, then we still would recess until the deliberative session, so that if there is action that's taken at the deliberative session, then we would have to say yay or nay that we agree or don't agree.
All right,
So you would close the public hearing portion of it and
Close the hearing and recess the meeting.
okay,
recess the meeting till February 1st. That way, if you had to take a vote at that meeting, it's part of that.
still already open.
Yes.
So we did 2 things tonight. Yes, sir.
I did have one.
Could you state your name, please?
Well, Mike Daniels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I do have one question regarding the Switch Road and River Road. So now that both of them have been resurfaced into it, and if the bond fails, did the highway department consider the ramification of an FY25 maintenance plan with an additional 6-ish miles of dirt for maintenance? Has that been a consideration in terms of
report and everything else, it's gonna be a little bit more than it would be if it was still just paving.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we looked at a couple of things. First of all, while we're doing this bond and while we're creating the road reconstruction, or we have over $400,000 still in the paving line items, so we can do some of it. There is discussion as we look through when we see mud season, if there's some of those areas, we may want to reconstruct the gravel anyway. And if we do that, we can make them just as good as paved for a while if we put in the full 18 inches of where we do a foot of dense grade and 6 inches of top. So we're looking at all those possibilities, and we can take care of those roads in the event that that doesn't pass.
And that can fit within the existing budget.
That's correct.
That would really.
Yep.
And was this contingent upon the property in Clark Pond turning into a national park? There was talk years ago, no,
It's all being done local.
that's dead, this, that was a dead issue with the fishing game.
I had followed up with an email because I'd heard rumor of this. And evidently, a couple of years ago, there was a modification to the scope of the work. And we were supposed to fill out an application and it never got filed. We never applied for the actual grant. The conversation is, and you'll notice in the bond article that if we do receive any grants, we would reduce the amount. And one of the things that I like to do is always do a bond anticipation note. So I don't ever have to get the permanent bond for more than I need, so I can get all the contracts in place and know what I have for grants and then only do that piece.
Right.
But we do have the ability to apply for grant monies in April. But what I'm gathering, based on the timing of where the monies were and everything else, it probably would not be any of the paved portions. It may be only the gravel portion, but that we're trying to have some discussions to figure out where they want us to be. Because they said they want to talk to us about the scope because it's going to change. That's all I know at this point.
So. The rules changed?
I don't know
that.
that-
You're gonna apply to the grant, congratulations, a good idea. But they were funding access roads from the major roads, which is Route 4.
I think they've reduced it, but they hasn't told me the specifics.
It was like 80-20
Yep,
for the whole thing, and
Right.
it was gonna be paved up to the bridge.
right.
And then dirt from the bridge up to the Clark Pond
Right.
Road. And Clark Pond already is.
A national park.
It's Silvio
It's already
Conte.
protected up the yin yang.
Right.
So it wouldn't.
But yeah, something has changed and they haven't told me the specifics and we're supposed to be having meetings.
I would say. Oh,
Yes, it would.
That alone is $1 million.
Well, the paving portion that the replacement, the paving of what we have is somewhere in the mid 700,000 just for the paving.
For what's already been removed,
Yes,
up to and that's.
that's the
did they
0.7
remove
miles
up
of
to
river
that
road.
bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, on Steve Pregnall on Twitch Road.
Thank you, sir.
So.
Thank you guys for everything you do.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and I'll entertain a motion to continue this budget committee meeting until February 1, to recess, I guess, to recess. My head's in court.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. To recess this public hearing. So moved. Do I have a second? Or not this meeting. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
That's a record.
I won the pool. I noticed didn't even bother moving the tables. It's like.